Beautiful. And we are live. All right. Put that into play so I can see that. Good. Hello everyone. My name's Sam. If you don't know who I am already, I've done a bunch of 3D printer reviews and I thought I'd do another one. This is a live stream video. This is of the Creality Ender-3 S1. This is a brand new release. It just came out at the start of February. I've got one here. We're going to unbox it, give it a go and see if it's any good. Let's get started. So it arrived in a nicely packaged box. This printer was provided for me as a review unit by a company called Flora Livings. They have a website which I've put in the description below. If you're in Australia, it's worth your while to check them out. They will ship locally and quickly to you wherever you are in Australia. And they're an official Creality distributor in Australia compared to buying it from AliExpress and then dealing with whatever happens. You've got local support, local contacts who can assist you if you have any issues, which hopefully you don't, and hopefully nor do I today. So this being a brand new printer release, the track record so far of most printers I have unboxed shortly after their release has been that out of the box they don't work. There's always some kind of gremlin or some kind of defect. So if they can manage to get through with a successful first print, I'll be very impressed. So open the box, they've given us a piece of paper, warm tip, and they've got some tips here about retraction settings. So just some printing parameter settings for us to use. Some good recommendations, nice to have those. The box itself is really nicely packed. It's all this good quality solid foam. This is a centimeter thick layer of foam. You've got a whole bunch of components here, nicely laid out. And then there's a second layer of foam. Everything's nicely nestled inside here so far. We've got an Australian power plug, nice to see. We've got the extruder at the top here. Sorry, this is the hot end. So we have, which way does this go? Okay, this mounts on a carriage, moves side to side this way. You've got filament coming in through the top. You've got the extruder motor here, and then you've got the hot end at the bottom here. So you've got a very short path between the motor pushing the filament through and it coming out the nozzle at the bottom. So this is a direct drive setup. This is probably the biggest change of the Creality Ender-3 S1 compared with the previous Creality Ender-3 models. The previous Ender-3 models were all Bowden tubes. It was a fairly short Bowden tube, but what that meant was you had a motor at one end pushing the filament down the tube into the hot end, and that tube creates a bit of slack, and that slack can very, very slightly affect printing quality, and it can also cause issues if you start to print flexible materials. So in particular, this printer should be excellent for printing flexible materials. We might have to give that a go. So that's the hot end and extruder. Very nice, very compact. It's also got, for the first time out of the box, a bed leveling sensor. So this printer makes it very easy to get your first layer height dialed in. You've got that bed leveling sensor. It'll probe the bed automatically at a range of points, and that will help to make sure your first layer height is bang on. There's a fan here with a metal shield on it. There's a hot end here with a nice silicone boot on it to keep it clean. All the different components are connected to a back board, which has got plugs on it. So if you need to replace one component, you can just unplug it. And at the top here, I really like this. You've got a giant big multi-pin connector at the top here, and that makes plugging in and unplugging the hot end a doddle. So say this is defective and you have to replace the whole unit, you can take this whole thing off, unplug it, put a new one on, plug it in again, and you're way and going. It seems like an obvious thing, but so many printers for the last however long, 10 years, have had cables that are soldered directly from here all the way through to the motherboard. One cable. No points of disconnection, and this makes maintenance so much easier when it's designed this way. So I already like what they've done here. This is a very, very compact unit. It's very lightweight. You want lightweight because as you're moving things around, low weight means low inertia, and that helps to have high acceleration values, good printing quality at high speed. So I really like that already. Okay, what else have we got inside here? I'm already rambling way too much. Let's get through this. I've got a bag with some goodies in that. We'll go through that later on. We've got a short length of sample filament. I won't be using this today. It's already sealed. I'll put that aside. We've got plenty of filament we can go through and give it a go. If you're there and online, please say hello in the chat. This is my first YouTube video in a long time. I'm still not sure if I want to keep doing these. So if you like what you're seeing or you have questions, please say hi in the chat, by all means. Got some plastic pieces. This looks like the mount for the LCD panel. Another little piece here, I'm not sure. All injection molded, none of this 3D printing component parts on your 3D printer itself. These are all high quality ABS injection molded parts. Got a filament run out sensor, and I think this is a spool holder for holding your filament spool. Something like that, that'll sit there. Your roll sits on here and the filament comes off there. You'll see how that fits along shortly. And that is the first layer. Oh no, hold on. One more bit of foam inside here. And we have our LCD screen here. So this is your control panel with your dial. Very similar to the Ender-3 V2, it looks like. We'll see how that goes. Okay, and our first layer of foam has been removed. Okay, so now we've got one large part here. This would be our ZX Gantry system. Put that over here. Somewhere it will balance safely and not fall down, which would be very awkward. All right, so now we've got the final bottom layer here. This is the main printer unit itself with the power supply, the motherboard, and the bed Y-axis all located in there. So there's some foam here. It's all very nicely packaged. Okay, more foam comes out. Here we go. It's definitely heavier than the previous models. Very nice. And I think we now have an empty box. So put that to the side. Alrighty. So this is the base of the unit. We've got a power switch on the side here. Power switch on this side. On the back we have our power input, our bed motor. Moves the bed backwards and forwards. We've got a nice flexible cable, nice and thick, to carry the bed power and the bed sensor. Okay, these are nicely machined flat surfaces to mount the XZ Gantry. We've got a small 10-pin connector that will be for the LCD screen. Alrighty, move this guy aside. Got 3 people watching. Please say hi in the chat if you are watching me. I'd really appreciate to know that there's actually people out there. Alrighty, so this is that little bag of bits. What have we got in here? They provided a putty knife with a sharp razor edge. These are handy for getting prints off the bed that are stuck. They're also quite dangerous. A lot of people will be holding their print and pushing in, trying to get their part off the bed. This is razor sharp. You can slice your hand open, damage tendons, nerves, the whole works. Do not do that. Do not end up in hospital at the ER. If you're going to use one of these, always make sure your other hand is behind the razor blade, so you're pushing this sharp edge away from you. Never do it towards you. Never do it with one hand out like that. You will injure yourself, guaranteed. Make sure you have a safe process when doing that. Ideally, you won't have that need to get parts off that way. This printer, very nice. This is a spring steel bed. Hopefully you can hear that. It's got a build tack like plastic surface on top. This metal backing is attracted to a magnet on the bottom of the printer. So you can take your print off the bed with a magnetic bed, flex the bed, and that will help to pop your parts pop your prints off the print bed. So I like that. We'll give that a go. Looks very nice. In this bag, we've also got some other goodies. We've got some, hey, this is kind of cool. We've got some Creality stickers. I don't know if you can see that there. No one's in the chat. Please say hello, it'd be nice. We've got spare nozzle. We have an end stop. This must be for the Z-axis, I think. We'll put that aside. Got some screws and bolts, nicely packaged in individual baggies. Put that to the side. We have these are good. This is a, get it out. This is a pair of flush cutters. These are an essential 3D printing tool. great for trimming wires. In particular, they're good for cutting your filament to get a nice clean cut so you can insert the filament to the printer. Really essential, good for cutting away support material. This brand, they're very sharp out of the box. They're not the most durable, but for free, I will take them. They're razor sharp, perfect for cutting away plastic. Okay, so what else have we got? We've got a little toolkit here with some hex keys, some wrenches. I'll show you what they are for later on. We have an SD card and an SD card reader. This is used for transferring your print files to the printer itself. So there's the SD card. This is an 8 GB one, and there's a slot on the side of the printer here. Is there? Nope, I lie. Where's the slot on the front of the printer here? It looks like it goes label face up, but it doesn't. All these printers, I don't know why, they do the SD card contact side up. That just goes in the front like that. Clicks in, clicks out. So easy to get your files onto your printer for printing. Okay, we've also got a USB port there. Sorry, a USB Type-C port here. So if connecting to your computer to the printer, there's a USB-C type port there. We don't seem to be given a USB Type-C cable in the box. I don't know why, but no matter. We probably won't need to connect the printer to the computer for any particular reason. I'm not sure why they've moved to the Type-C port, but it's definitely a more modern standard. Okay, so we have an after-sales service card. Put that aside. And here we have Ender-3 S1. We have... This is all in Chinese. Is there, bingo, other side is English. So we've got a fold-out instruction guide. It's nice that it's printed. I don't have to go find a thing on a USB stick and print it off. And it looks like it's got all the major steps here. It's definitely a bit small. It would have been nice if this was like an A5 booklet or something. This is like A6, I think. But it's in color. The printing is clear. Let's see how we go following these instructions. Okay, if you do need glasses, you will need a magnifying glass. It's quite small printing, but it does look like it's got everything we need on there. So let's go through this one. Product assembly. Place the nozzle assembly on the mounting panel of the extruder. Pre-lock with 4 M3x6 hex socket cap head screws. That would be these guys. M3, the small ones, 6mm long. That's these chaps. Now, rather than using this toolkit, I have my own tools. One more thing I forgot to mention, in the box they also included a piece of foam. No, I lied. It's actually an acupuncture needle, 0.4mm in diameter. If your nozzle becomes clogged for whatever reason, you can insert this into the orifice and that can help to clean the nozzle out if you need to. But if you don't need to, that's just there as a spare. Let's get these hex keys on. These hex screws. Where's my screwdriver? There we go, M3. So, we take our extruder combination hot end, and we're going to be mounting this onto here. Very nice. It's a very... Okay, so where are the mounting points? Oops. We've got 4 mounting points all on the side. It looks like they're all on the side here. Hopefully this microphone's not banging into things. Oops, I'm sorry if it is. Okay, so one there. One here. OzHot83. Hey, no, I didn't advertise this. I have been trying to get this stream happening for literally weeks. My work has been crazy busy, so I had some time tonight. It took me a good hour and a half to get the live stream set up or working again, but we got there. But yeah, it's fun to be back. So yeah, Ender-3 S1. Any questions? Go for it. So this mounts really nicely on the side of the extruder here with these four. I've got one left over. I think I did 4. 4 hex socket screws. That feels solid. It's a nice, what's that, 3mm piece of folded steel or folded aluminium. So yeah, it looks nice and sturdy. That feels good. Moves nice and smoothly. Okay, that's step 1. Yep. Step 2, clip the wire clamp to the back panel of the X-axis motor. Okay, so that's apparently this doodad, which I didn't know what this was for, to the back of the X-axis motor. So from the back side on the right. So it goes, flips this around, so this is the back of the printer now. Goes on this right side here, it seems to go up here like this, and just clips over. Nope, clips under. Nope, how do you do this? It's very small printing. Okay, clips upside down onto that like this. Okay, so it clips on. I'm very confused. How does it not interfere with the belt? I have it upside down. Okay, so you've got the hook this way over, so it's hooking like that, and that goes like this. But how? I'm not confused how far it goes over. Am I doing something stupid? Oh, I had the wrong way. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm good at this normally. So it goes this way across. So the hook is like this. There's the back of it. There's the front of it. Hopefully you can see the orientation. This slips over this. There we go. Okay. Bring this closer so people can see. I think this is a point worth showing clearly. Goes like this. Onto here. That's it. Really easy if you can know how, but wasn't immediately clear to me until I had it the right way around. Okay, this is just simply a nice cable holder for the X-axis motor. Okay, next one. Gantry frame installation. Okay, so now we want to remove the right profile, blah, 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 blah. Yep, okay. So now we take the big screws and we're going to be bolting the XZ frame to the bottom of the printer. Okay, they've given us 5 screws, so that's 4 screws and 1 spare. Always nice to have spares. If they don't mention it as a spare, it makes you always a bit disconcerted that you've missed something, but no matter. Okay, that goes there nicely. What I typically do is bring the whole printer over the edge for one side at a time. And I get 2 screws in, get them started. These look like M5s, I think. Let's get this lined up. The hole, come on. Get these bolts started. I like that they have gone to the trouble of machining out flat surfaces for these 2 parts to join. That's a nice touch. I think we want these ones. Yep. M5s with a 4mm socket head. And they provide all the tools in the bag. I'm just using the tools that I have since they're a little bit nicer. But the tools they provided are this perfectly adequate, just hex keys. Okay. There's one. So yeah, I have this printer here. It'll be set up tonight. So if you guys have suggestions or questions you want answered about what this printer can do, does it work with X material? Can you print this type of thing? How does it handle this situation? Please put comments in the questions in the live chat, and I will do my best to plan out content to answer those. Mustafa Karabulat. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm so sorry if I'm not. Hello. Okay. So yeah, a bit more context. Last 2 years I have been working my PhD. That's finally done. I've moved house. This is a new garage. It's taken me a long time to get this cleaned up. But yeah, things are set up and I'm back again. So we'll see where things go from here. One last screw. So I've done 2 on that side, 1 on this side. Do the last one here. We're in 2022, and I think this means that the context that this printer exists in is very different to even that of 2019, 2020, 2018. At this point in time, there's lots of good printers out there. Ender-3 V2. I can recommend that printer to anybody who needs a printer. There's a solid community out there. It's a great beginner printer. So this one has to be able to do a few things better than that one. And it also has to not fail at so many of the common failure points. So, Mustafa, this printer was provided for review by a company in Australia called Flora Livings. They have both an eBay store and their own independent store. I've put a link to this printer in the chat below. If you're in Australia, I definitely recommend to check them out. They are shipping from Melbourne. They have a Melbourne warehouse, so you get Melbourne support. Yeah, and fast shipping across Australia, so no waiting around. This came as a giant container full of, I don't know, hundreds of printers. So they have quite a few of these in stock. This is from the very first batch, so I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Blah, 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 screws in. Okay, next one is display. So far we've done 4 screws here, 4 screws here, and we're almost done. So we want to put the screen on next. This has a little bracket. This bracket will hook onto the side here. And there should be 3 screws for that. And those screws are M4 by 18. Okay, that would be these ones. So far the trend has been that they provide a spare screw in most cases. Again, we've got 4 screws here, and it looks like I only need 3. So M4, so I need a 3mm, nope, 2.5mm head. Alrighty, so this guy goes in here. This guy goes down here and just screws in like this. Can a Raspberry Pi be connected? Good question. I'll have to test that as the answer to that question. I would expect so. Every single printer I've tested so far has eventually, if not initially, been provided with external control support. So let me get the screw in the right hole. Here's the hole. Here's the hole. So most printers will provide a serial interface via the USB port that then any device, be it a computer or Raspberry Pi, can then connect to and then send G-code commands over that serial port to the printer. That's how it all works. So I'd be surprised if this printer does not support that, but yes, that is something we'll have to test. Maybe even tonight we can test that. So you can test it with a Raspberry Pi. You can also test if there is external control support using software like Print Run, it's called Print Run, or Universal G-code Sender. There's a range of different packages out there, or really any serial command line program can be used to send those commands over serial. Okay, so we have the display here. It's got some nice pins. Those pins just hook over here and the display slides into place really easy. Okay, it's got a little ribbon cable here for the screen. That goes to the back, that goes in there. We can do the slow peel. Oh, I'll zoom in for the slow peel. We all like a good slow peel. Well, that was a bit unsatisfying. Left some residue there. All right, well, let me grab some isopropyl alcohol. Clean that off. Just looks like some sticker residue there. Anyway, what had happened was that sticker there was covering the metal there and left a little bit of residue there, but that's cleaned off just fine, so that's good. Nope, still some residue. Yeah, I would have liked that not to have happened, but easily fixed. Okay. Alrighty, let's zoom back out again. There we go. Where are we up to? So, gantry, display, material rack installation. Material rack, I have never heard it called that. Okay, or filament holder. So, screw that in there, that down like that like that. And this will be vertically like that. So, how does this work without interfering with this guy? Is it just clip on? Fit the front. Ah, I see. So the way this works is this front edge clips over the front and then clips backwards. So like that. Like that, and then a clip down and locks into place. So it clips over the front edge rather than under the back edge. And then we've got this little filament run out sensor, which I'm not quite sure I understand how this is connecting without getting in the way. Connect the because this would be flipped around like that, but then this cable comes through this side. So this is the sensor I need to hook up to that cable, so I'm not quite sure I understand what it is they're trying to do here. I think this comes off. We need to put this on the left side relative to the pin here. I'm going to fix that camera in a second. There we go. That makes much more sense. So then that plugs into there, little cable, and it hooks up the filament run out sensor. Sorry, camera. Oh, there we go. Zoom out. There we go. CR10 Smart just for Creality Wi-Fi box or Ender-3 S with Raspberry Pi. Is Creality Wi-Fi box better than Raspberry Pi? Good question. I can't answer that one because I have not tested the Creality Wi-Fi box. I am very partial to Raspberry Pi. At the moment, there's a shortage worldwide of Raspberry Pis. So the Raspberry Pi 4 is selling for upwards of $120 Australian, or I'm guessing probably more like 80 or 90 US dollars, which is ridiculous. It's not worth that much. There's lots of cheaper single board computers out there. If the Creality Wi-Fi box is less than, say, 60 US dollars, I'd say it's worth a shot, because really all it is at the end of the day is a Wi-Fi interface to upload files to connect over a serial port to the printer and print. It doesn't have to do much more than that. A Raspberry Pi gives you much more flexibility. It has additional USB ports. You can connect webcams, do things like Octo Labs, so recording of the print while it's happening. Lots of expansion plugins out there for the Octo print system. So a Raspberry Pi gives you much more flexibility. I don't know exactly what the Creality Wi-Fi box offers. Yeah, I think it is a nice looking printer. Thanks for the comment. There's nice attention to plastics around here to cover up some of the exposed pieces. You can sort of see that lots of angular details have been included. It looks much more like a consumer product than many other printers have previously. I'll bring the other Ender-3 V2 over once you've got this put together. Anyway, these are all the plastic bags that all the screws come in. They're all individually labeled with what's inside them, which is really nice. It makes installation quite a lot easier. We're almost there. Okay, equipment wiring, XZ motor interface, X axis limit switch. Which I do not see. I think we have to install that one. Have we missed something? Or have they not shown us how to do it? I think they haven't shown us how to do it. So, we have been given, oh no, spare parts. Great, so that should be it. So where is the, is it all hidden away? This is the thing when you have all the plastics on the printer, it's hard to know where everything is. So on the X-axis head, where is the end stop? Oh, I heard a click. Aha! So the end stop for the X-axis is under there. So it's all very nicely shrouded by these plastic pieces, which is very nice. Okay, so now we need to hook up the cables. Do they have a suggestion on how to route the cables? Kind of. Okay, so the print head is this one here. We've got the X-axis motor, which goes here. So these are all different length connectors, so you can't really go too wrong with this. So that brings it to there. Get the black positioning label of the flexible. And this guy goes into here. So they've got a nice cable routing clip. The one I showed you the camera before. Holds the cables there, which is nice. And then we've got this one nice big ribbon cable, which connects through to here. And it has a nice clip to hold the flexible stuff, hold the ribbon in place. This is all very nice. I like this. How do I get this in exactly? That's the question. That opens up. Cable plugs in. What's the board like in it? I don't know yet. I haven't opened it up yet. Sorry, Dave Jones, I have not yet opened it up. Okay, so this is really nice. I really like this because not only have we got a detachable cable, it's also cable managed. So what that means is that while printing, it's much less likely to get snagged or tangled up in something. It runs underneath the print. There's a belt at the top here. It's nicely protected with a nylon weave sheathing, or nylon, I'm not sure what it is, a nylon weave sheathing. This is flexible. You're not bending the wires at one particular point. It's nicely curved. So I'm really happy with that. Okay, I've got some more tape here. I think this is for another motor connector. And I think it's already leaving behind some more residue. Oh no, not too bad. See if we can get that off. Yeah, not too bad. Okay. One more motor down here. Where's this guy connect to? Aha. So this is kind of cool. I'm going to come back and show that in a second. All right, this is good. I like this. So we've plugged in the filament run out connector. We've plugged in the X motor, the X end stop, the print head itself. There's a few more things to plug in, which I shall now demonstrate. So at the back of the printer here, we zoom in so you can really see up close. We have a little rubber cover here. Pull that off. Very nice. And we have sockets for the Z motor, for the Z end stop. We have a little bit of tape holding down this one, which goes to the Z motor. Don't need this tape anymore. like that. And there's one hole left here which says expansion interface. So I don't know what that is, but it says PWM minus 20 volt plus 24 volts. So there's a extra little doodad there. Okay, spare screws over to the side. Anyway, that's really nice. I like that. It's got little plugs located very conveniently for plugging everything in. I'd say this is the most nicely cable managed printer I have seen to date. The JG Maker Artist D was not bad, but this is really nice. I really like this. So, what are these ones for? M5 type nut T-slot. Haven't used those. Put the tools to the side. Spare nozzle and sticker, put those to the side. USB stick card reader. Snippers. What have I missed? Right. Plug it in, screws in, blah, 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 blah. Check that it is set to the correct voltage. Okay, so on the back of the printer, there is a voltage switch. It is set to 230 volts. So it's a nice little window there. You can easily view and set what your printer is set to. And it's an instruction manual to check that. Printed in red. So that's nice to see, hard to miss it. I confess that I have received printers from overseas before where I did not check the power supply was set to 230 volts and I blew up the power supply, which was a bit of a blooper. Camera has gone fuzzy and needs to come up a bit. Hopefully it's better now. Hopefully. Sorry. Hopefully the focus will correct itself. Apologies. I think that's everything. I think it's all wired up now. Let's give it a go. Okay, and it has gone fuzzy, so let's see if I can fix that autofocus. Come on, autofocus. Come on. Manual focus, where are you? Focus. Okay. Hopefully that'll focus itself. Give that a second. All right. So, plugged in everything. Let's give this a try. I'll put this aside. I've already got some cables that I prepared earlier. Okay. Here we go. Fan turns on, screen lights up. I'm going to zoom in closer on that screen so you can get a better view. Oh, sorry for people making you dizzy. So we've got a really simple 4-item menu here: print, prepare, control, level. Under print, it should show us what items are on the SD card. Sorry, I'm blocking the screen there. Go back. So print, prepare, control, level, print. Really nice. You've got a few files in here. Operation video. So this is just the files that are already on that SD card. Software and driver, user manual, shake hands, rabbit, handle, and cat. So there's a few test files there. Let's load some filament up. I'm going to go prepare. Oops. Prepare, and I'm going to go down to PLA preheat. That's going to preheat the bed and the nozzle, ready to print with PLA filament, which I'm going to grab right now. I have some somewhere. Sorry, people. Take this. this? It's PLA Plus. We'll use that. Excuse me, people. Sorry. Okay, so I've got some PLA Plus filament here. I really like this material. It prints quite nicely. This is not brand new material, so we'll see how it goes. That goes first of all. All right, let me just zoom out and show you this process so everyone can see what we do out of the box. So I've turned it to preheat PLA on there. The next thing I want to do is actually load the filament. So I'm watching on the screen here, it has told us the nozzle's at 185. Above 180 is enough for printing PLA. Recommended to do 200 to 210, but above 180 we should be able to insert the filament into the printer. So I've taken my roll here, I've hooked the roll over the filament holder, into the run out sensor switch, like that, and this will then go into the print head, like this. There's a little button here, this is the clutch mechanism for the extruder. It's not a touchscreen, it's just a dial and button. Some people like touchscreens, some people don't. It's a matte screen, which is nice, not a glossy one. I think not being a touchscreen is nice because you won't get fingerprints all over it. It is definitely a better quality screen than is on the Ender-3 V2. That printer has a very similar interface, but it has a really bad viewing angle on the screen, which makes it a bit of a pain to use. This is obviously a lot nicer. Okay, so filament goes in a little hole here at the top. Pressing the lever, disengage the motor. I can now push the filament through manually. And there we go. You can see filament coming out already. So this has come out with some purple material. So they obviously tested the nozzle with purple filament at the factory. That's easy. Filament is now loaded up. Takes off the stand. Actually, I might leave it there for a moment so I can show you guys more clearly. Let me see in the chat. Okay, so now we've preheated it, we've loaded the material, we should be able to just do an auto home. That's going to take all the axes back to their home positions. Let's see how that goes. We're done with the manual. This is good. The manual walks you through what to do if you're first time printing. Okay, so what it suggests doing is leveling the bed for your first time using A4 pieces of paper, which is the method that I like to use myself. So, auto leveling. Let's go through this whole process exactly as they list here and see if it works. Please wait until homing. Okay, so it's still homing itself. We'll let that keep going. Yeah, so really nice things are this bed cable. It's thick, flexible, nicely insulated, very rigidly mounted. Really like that. The bed leveling screws are nice, easy to access. All the cables are really nicely managed. There's a lot of things I really think they've done well on this printer so far. Let's see how it goes from here. Okay. Okay, that's the home. Let's now try auto leveling. Back, level. Now, I have never had a printer with auto leveling work out of the box. If this works, I'll be surprised. I hope it works. It should work. There's no reason it shouldn't work. They've designed the machine, they've made it, they've made the instructions. But there it goes. I'll zoom the camera in so you can see it. It's running its little bed probe. Focus. Oops, there we go. You can see it go. Little bed probe running. Very nice. So it looks like a BL Touch style system. frankly, I've had enough problems with the original BL Touch that I don't really care. As long as it works, look at it go. There you go. So this is not a trivial thing. G-Tech makes a bunch of printers that claim you can add on an automatic leveling sensor. You try to do it, and on some printers it does not work reliably. This is working out of the box first time. Very impressed. I shouldn't be impressed. It should be. If they advertise something, it works, but it's not always the case. But here I'm liking what I'm seeing. So bed leveling, automatic bed leveling out of the box, working first time. Very impressed. So yeah, so if you're a beginner and you don't want to muck around with bed leveling, it's got that sensor there to make things a bit easier for you. Here on the software, it tells you how to get started. It looks like they've got their own version of Cura called the Creality Slicer. I don't really like that. There's no reason they need to have their own slicer software. They could very easily just add a printing profile for this printer to the Cura software. A few manufacturers have done this. I think they just wanted to look like they've made their own software, but they haven't. They've taken Cura and they've rebadged it. Not offended, just disappointed. Okay. These tools back. Well, this is a bit boring. Nothing's gone wrong yet. I like troubleshooting. Okay, put that to the side as well. Yeah, so installation guide seems to have everything in there. I don't think it was missing anything major. Just could be printed a little bit bigger. That's what I would personally like. But hey, it's in English, and it seems to have had everything. They've given you a spare nozzle, so if you wear that one out, you've got a spare one, which is nice. Some stickers, very nice. Spare parts, always good to see. I don't quite know why they picked these specific spare parts, but I will ask no questions. We'll see what happens. So I mentioned I would talk about this toolkit. So this is an important thing to understand with any printer that runs on aluminium extrusions. So they give you this one and this one. The small one is for the nozzle. It's for undoing the nozzle and changing that out. That's what that one's for. This one here is for adjusting the eccentric wheel hubs on the V-groove wheel hub centers. So I'll show you this. We'll grab a playing Jenga here. Aluminium extrusion. It has a groove down the middle of it. Actually, this one doesn't. There's one that does. Here we go. So aluminium V-groove extrusions. They are a square shape with profiles cut out of them. This one has a flat surface and then a V surface and then a cutout. The V surface is what these V-groove wheels ride on, like this. Very simple design. It's important that the wheels grip the profile from both sides, and they need to grip it not too tightly, not too loosely. To achieve this, what they do is they mount these on, if I can find them, here we go. They mount them on these eccentric hubs. That's still leveling? Nope, it's all done, excellent. So they mount them on these, hopefully you can see this. Focus. Come on, camera. No. This camera's autofocus is going on strike, apparently. Focus. Autofocus. Manual focus. No, doesn't work. Okay. I'll muck around with that another time. So they have an eccentric, it's it has a hole that is drilled eccentrically to the center. It's hard to show you, I'm sorry. I'll zoom in. Here we go, let's do this. Hope you can see that there. It's drilled eccentrically, so as you rotate this, that center moves off. There's an offset, that center offset changes as you turn this. What that means is, by turning it, you can adjust the force that these wheels clamp onto the rail with. So what can happen is if the wheels are set too far away from the frame, the bed will actually be loose and it will wobble. That's when you use this tool to tighten the eccentric nut to make sure that the wheels are nicely gripping, not too hard, not too loose, nicely gripping the V-groove rail to make sure everything moves smoothly. This looks really good. Everything is nice and sturdy, nothing is loose. So I like this printer. It is set up well out of the box. So this is what the tool's for, in case you're wondering. Some printers will inevitably come with those wheels loose. They may come loose during shipping, they may come loose from the factory, and you may need to adjust them. This one, out of the box, it's fine, so that's excellent. Okay, so we've done a auto bed leveling step. Let's try a test print. So I'm gonna go over to print. Let's go down, I don't know what any of these are. Let's try a cat. Okay, it's heating up. The bed's heating up to 60 degrees. Put the profile back. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so first the bed is preheating. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Is it preheating? Yep, 56, 57, 58, 59. So it takes some time to preheat. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The bed needs some time for the heating plate, which is on the bottom, for the heat to soak through the bed. Normally I would say that most printers heat the bed first, then the nozzle, but it's finishing the bed, now it's doing the nozzle. Nozzle's going up to 200, heating quite rapidly. I'll zoom in so you can see what's happening close up. Oops, world's worst cameraman, sorry. Focus, there we go. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. That wasn't meant to happen. It's doing it. The fans that are running at the moment are pretty quiet. So there's obviously a fan for the power supply, there's a fan for the hot end. It's not too bad sounding, I will say that at least. But we'll see how noisy it is when it actually starts printing. 195, 196, almost there. There we go, it's doing its thing. Zoom out. So I don't know what it's doing now. So it's running an auto home sequence. with the nozzle, which is nice to see. So it looks like it's printing. There we go, it's doing a nice prime line on the side there. So to help the filament start to flow nicely, it's doing just one line of extrusion on the bed. Feel free to ask any questions, guys, while you wait for this thing to print. I mean, that's pretty good. We've gone 56 minutes and we're already printing, and I've gone through pretty slowly, I've explained everything, but from opening the box to printing in under an hour, that's pretty good. Nothing was hard, nothing was difficult in what I did. There was a video I saw in the last 2 weeks. The video was called "Don't Get a 3D Printer" by Mihai. I'm not sure how that Mihai Designs. He made his comments that there's so many different printers he owns that he has invested so much time and effort into. I have had the same experience where you invest tons and tons of time into a printer, fixing issues along the way, but the whole time you're doing that, you never know what the ultimate destination will be. What is the limit of that printer's capability? You're sinking all this time into it, but you don't know how it will turn out in the end. And sometimes you'll be left disappointed. For me, I enjoy the tinkering. I've learned a lot along that way, but for me in 2022, if I'm buying a printer, I do not want to be tinkering with it. I want it to work out of the box and work well, reliably. I do not want to have to be troubleshooting it. This printer is ticking that box so far. It's got everything I want. It's actually printing very quietly. It's printing out of the box, which is a thing that not all printers can tick off. It's got auto bed leveling, which worked. It's got nice cable management. It looks good. It's compact. I'm quite impressed with what this printer has to offer so far. Let's see how it goes from here. But yeah, for a first production model, so this is the first fleet that have come off the production line, I'm not seeing massive defects. I'm not seeing wires the wrong length, or things askew, or the instruction manual doesn't match up with the product. The instruction manual could be improved, but there's no mistakes in there. So that's not bad. I'll zoom in a bit more so you can see more closely. Yeah, so this is quite nice. It's a all-in-one direct drive extruder. So you've got the motor there, a really nice little pancake motor, geared. There'll be a geared reduction set there to pull the filament. Got a nice cooling fan in the front there. There's another fan there for cooling the cold side of the extruder. You've got your bed leveling sensor on the side there. And feeling the weight of it, it was pretty lightweight overall. So yeah, really nice, and hopefully that will mean, being a direct drive printer, hopefully we can try some flexible filaments with this printer and see how that goes. Okay, so I've been too nice to this printer so far. Let me find something to complain about. This LCD panel, it's fixed at one angle. It might be nice if you could perhaps change the angle that it's at. But even so, like I said before, it's a much nicer panel. I don't know if you saw, let me show you. It's a much nicer panel than their previous model. And it may have looked like the screen was dark before. I just turned the dial and it came bright. So there's obviously like an auto dimming feature on the screen there, which is a nice little touch. I like how it's got all the current printing parameters down the bottom here. You can see those at any time. So they have made some improvements to the interface on this printer compared to their previous ones, like the Ender-3 V2. Other complaints would be, I'm not yet 100% convinced about the filament run out sensor positioning. It's not bad, it's pretty good. I just feel like when this print head gets up high, it probably puts a bit more stress on that mechanism and on the filament. Probably has to bend it a bit more. See how that goes. Looks like it's okay, but it's fine, totally fine when the printer is at low heights, but as the print head gets higher, I wasn't totally convinced about this. That's a small thing. The print arm was really easy to attach. A complaint would be that you can't mount it anywhere else. Some other printers you can take this off and bolt it onto the side rails. So you have to put this into a shelf with a really low height. You can't do that because this is on top. So some printers let you bolt the whole spool holder onto the side of the printer instead. I personally prefer that myself. Anyway, so that's not as flexible. It has got really nice knurled knobs on the Y bed axis and the X axis. This is used for tensioning the belts. Makes the whole process so much easier. So it's a sign that they care enough about the printer beyond just the unboxing. Because it may work fine out of the box, which looks like it has today, which is great. But it shows that after today, it will be easy to maintain this printer because of these kind of touches. So I like to see that. The modularity of all the cables, again, I previously mentioned that was a nice touch. So yeah, thanks again to Flora Livings for supplying this printer for review. Their link to their store is in the video description. Contact them if you have any questions about shipping times, but it's shipping from Australia, from warehouse in Melbourne. So for those in Australia, can check that out. But yeah, it's printing out of the box. Not much else for me to do here. If there's no other questions, I may just end the stream here, and then we'll do another stream and I'll show you the final results. It looks like this print will take a fair bit of time. It's done 13 minutes so far, and it's saying 4.5 hours to go. So I think I'll just stop the stream here, and yeah, I'll post a community post with a photo of the final print. But yeah, if you have more questions about the printer, please put them in the discussion, in the chat. I'll have to look into what the Creality Wi-Fi box is. I have not seen that myself. We'll do some tests with the Raspberry Pi. Hopefully I've answered all the questions otherwise. Yeah, most of the printers I've done before have been, well, not most of them, a number of them have been JG Maker printers. Personally myself, I'm using the Creality Ender-3 V2. Those two, I've got 2 of those now myself. They've been my full-time printers for 95% of the projects. And then I have an A5S, a JG Aurora A5S and a JG Aurora A1. And I use those occasionally for larger scale prints. But I've been very impressed with the Creality printer so far. And this printer here brings a few more nice touches, like the automatic bed leveling out of the box. Very nice. Even better cable management. You've got the direct drive extruder, and the nicer screen as well. So there's a few nice touches in where they've taken this printer, and hopefully they see some good success with it. No doubt. It's definitely a printer I could recommend for a beginner, knowing there's not too much to stuff them up. The manual has most of the important details. So, all right, well, we've passed an hour. Hour 7. So I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much for those who've joined along the way. Have a great night. Wherever you are in the world, have a great day. And yeah. Chuck, if you missed the live stream, you're watching this later on, please put comments in the comments below, and I'll get back to you at another time. So yeah. Anyway, cheerio. Thanks for watching. See ya.